I'm going to share with you guys my story, because my story has a lot to do with how I got involved with Beachbody, how I evolved as a coach. And what I'm going to get into is how personal development, and you will hear me all the time preach personal development, how personal development skyrocketed me from a discount coach to a 5-star diamond elite coach, and how important that is as a coach that you participate in that vital behavior every single day. So yes, as you were saying, you saw a picture of me that you didn't even recognize me. And to be honest with you, I can barely recognize myself in these pictures as well. I have struggled with weight my entire life. Basically, I look back and I think about, when did those behaviors really start? And when did I have a struggle with food? And I can go back all the way to probably around the age of 7 or 8 that I remember hiding to eat, doing those silent binges of cookies and sodas and tucking the cans away so my parents wouldn't see. But at the same time, I was also a very active child. So my weight would kind of fluctuate depending on where I was and what I was doing at that point in my life. Well, throughout high school, I pretty much was about 150 pounds. I struggled a lot with anxiety and depression in high school. Never really knew why or understood why, but it was just something that I struggled with. So what happened is I went to college. When I got into college, I realized that with the amount of stress, the transition from moving with home, that I really fell into food as a coping mechanism. And not food in a way that it meant I was eating a lot. I was actually restricting a lot, and I was exercising a lot. And I just thought that was normal. I just thought that was everyday life, because that's kind of what social, the world puts out there, that, when you're young, you need to exercise, you need to restrict yourself, all that kind of stuff. So when I got married, I gained 70 pounds my first year of marriage. Like crazy, right? 70 pounds. My poor husband must have been like, what is she doing? Once again, that was a transitional thing in life for me. And I do now because of personal development, but I didn't handle transitions very well that were big in my life easily. So how I dealt with that was through food. Obviously, I ate a lot of food, as you can see through these pictures. For me, I would struggle with anxiety and depression. And what did I do? I would get in my car, and what's going to make me feel better? I would drive to Taco Bell, and I would order like 50 to 60 tacos, and I would sit and eat them all in my car, and then I'd drive home. Or I'd feel stressed coming home from work because it was just a really long day. I was actually, at that point in time, director of a daycare, and I was working from basically 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I didn't really eat healthy. I ate fast food a lot because I wanted something quick and easy, because I didn't feel like taking care of myself. Or I would stop by Dunkin' Donuts you guys have Dunkin' Donuts out there, right? On the East Coast. We don't have it over here in California, thank goodness. But on the East Coast, I would drive by and get a box of Munchkins, a 50 bucks of Munchkins, and eat the entire box on my way to work. So needless to say, I had some really deep issues with food, but didn't really recognize it, if that makes any sense. When you're so deep in an eating issue and with stress and anxiety and depression, you can't really see outside of what's happening to you. And yes, I knew my body was changing. Yes, I knew I went from being 160 pounds when I got married to 240 pounds. I was aware that something was going on. But what happened is I wanted to get pregnant. I wanted to be a mom. That was part of my why. And I knew that I had to lose weight first before that could happen. And I knew the only way I could do that is if I learned how to eat healthy. So about 15 years ago, I joined Weight Watchers. I lost about 90 pounds then. And that experience for me was just strictly nutrition with some walking. I learned a lot about food. I learned a lot about my body. And, I was really proud of myself that, I lost all this weight. So interject, now that I've lost the weight, I get to become a mom. So I got pregnant right away. Awesome. Had my first son. Then guess what I did? I decided to have 3 more babies, basically 2 years apart, bang, 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 get them all out. As you know, if some of you are moms, taking care of yourself as a mom who has I had 4 kids under the age of 7. It was a very trying time in my life. And once again, it's that transition time. I was dealing with, my oldest son was diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So my first 2 sons are only 18 months apart. So here I am dealing with therapy for my one son, basically 5 days a week, and then having a brand new infant in the house at the same time. My life just was completely dedicated to them. I pretty much let myself kind of go again, which is sad. But at the same time, it was where I was in my journey. And I look back at that now, and I'm kind of thankful for that because it's gotten to me to where I am today. So let me share a little bit with you where I am today. My husband, we used to live in New Jersey. I was saying to Natalie, my husband was offered a job position in San Francisco, California 5 years ago. Now imagine, we're high school sweethearts. We've lived in New Jersey for 35 years of our life, born, raised, had our children there, and we decided to take a leap of faith and jump out of our comfort zone and hop on a plane and move to California in hopes that he would hit his career goal of becoming a partner for PricewaterhouseCoopers. Really big gamble, really big things at stake. So when we got to California, I realized, wow, here I am, 3,000 miles away from my friends and my family, really out of my comfort zone. I need to find myself. And I know a lot of us start this journey because we feel a little lost and we need to take care of ourselves. So when I showed up in California, I was creeping my way back up to 190 pounds. And I was at the doctor's office, and I remember the day. I mean, who here hates doctor scales? Me. I stepped on it, and I remember the exact moment, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm not going back. I've worked too hard. There's no way. I can't go back to being 240 pounds or more. Like, I deserve a better life, and my children deserve a better mom. They deserve a mom that can actually get on the ground and play with them. They deserve a mom that can actually bend down and tie their shoes, because at that point in time, I couldn't do it. My thighs were so big, I couldn't bend down. So I came home, and I had never run a day in my life. And because I had no friends or family to watch my kids, I begged my husband to buy me a treadmill. When Sarah would nap, I would get on the treadmill, and I taught myself to run. So I would walk, then run in intervals until I got to a point where I was able to start running for longer distances at a time. I started to lose some weight at that point, and I was down probably about 30 pounds at that point, which was awesome. But that also allowed me to be able to get outside and run. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced, if you've ever been, overweight with a significant amount of weight, you tend to be really self-conscious. And I didn't ever want to run outside because I was worried about what I looked like in front of people running. So I decided one day to venture outside and start running, and I learned I loved it. Like, you couldn't get me on a treadmill now to save my life. So I got on the treadmill. I got outside. I started running. I actually signed up. This is before I knew about training for running, so I'm not going to recommend that any of you do this, but I went and ran a half marathon without training for it. I had only ever run 6 miles, but I figured, what's 6 more miles, So I went and ran that, had an awesome experience, loved it, and decided I was going to train for a marathon. So I trained for a marathon, but for me, that meant running all the time. That's all I did. I ran. I look back now and I realized that running was my coping mechanism. It wasn't food anymore. It was my coping mechanism for helping me find myself. It was my therapy. I mean, they say that running's therapy, right? Truly was therapy for me. I was beginning to find myself. I was beginning to gain confidence. Well, here's the thing. Because I was running so much, I was getting injury after injury after injury. So I met my coach, who's Rhonda Layton, on a social media page called Run Like a Mother. and she had just qualified for Boston using Insanity. So I figured, well, this lady knows what she's doing. I might as well ask her, you know, how can I get in better shape? How can I not be injured? And she suggested, and I had no idea she was a Beachbody coach, but we had talked a couple different times, and she had suggested that I try P90X. So, because I like weights. So Mike and I committed to doing P90X together. I lost the last of my baby weight, got down to 137 pounds. Muscle, everything that I wanted, felt awesome. My husband, he was just joining along in this journey to give me support. And in the process, he lost 65 pounds doing P90X and Shakeology. During that time, I signed up to be a discount coach because, I mean, who the heck wants to pay full price, right? Like, and I'm married to an accountant. That's the last thing he, wanted me to do was pay full price every month for our Shakeology. So I signed up to become a discount coach with no interest in working this business whatsoever. So what happened was I was sharing my journey, just kind of like, hey, look at these. I can actually do pull-ups now. And hey, look at this. I'm getting PR times for running that like were insane. And I knew it was because of the cross training. So a lot of people were following that and people were interested. And that's when Rhonda said to me, hey, listen, you should really think about growing this business. Well, as most of you who probably started this business thought to yourself, I'm going to fail at this. Like, how can I be successful in doing this? Here I am. I struggle with weight. I struggle with exercise. I have no confidence. Like, I had no confidence whatsoever in myself to be able to lead people. And I quickly realized that, we talk about the vital behaviors of this business. And that one of those things is personal development. Personal development changed the course of my entire life. Before I started Beachbody, my personal development was basically Runner's World magazine, Us Weekly, People magazine, everything that shows up on a Friday and you're like stoked that you have like reading material all weekend. That was as far as I got. When I started with Beachbody, I was like starting to realize that, hey, I have some things to work on here. I struggle with nutrition. I struggle with diet. So I started reading a lot about that and learning a lot about myself. At the same time, I started gaining confidence in myself because here I am, I'm getting results. People are looking to me for help and for motivation and for accountability. And wow, that's a great side bonus. So here I am thinking, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can just continue to share my story consistently. Notice I said the word consistently, whether I felt like it or not, that maybe I could do this thing. So that's going to take me to here, my coaching journey. I became a coach in May of 2012. I became a working coach in basically February of 2013. I have had the opportunity to help thousands of people, and for that, I am grateful. The only reason I've been able to do that is because of personal development. And let me explain a little bit why. As a leader, as someone who is working on themselves, you have to constantly be doing that in order to grow yourself. I say that your mental fitness is far beyond and exceeds, way more important than your nutritional and physical fitness. Because if you can be growing your mind and reading and working on yourself mentally, then the other things just kind of fall in place and they are kind of like added tools to growing yourself. So here's a little story. I got into running, as you know already, and then I got into ultra running. Here I was training with every single Beachbody program known to man. I would roll every 60 to 90 days in and out of one, was getting epic results. I was able to run 5 100-milers in the matter of 12 months, my very first year. That's kind of unheard of. But here's the thing. On my 7th attempt to make a 100-miler, I landed up throwing up blood. Talk about scary feeling. And this is where I get a little emotional on things. because of the work that I was doing on myself and because of personal development, I decided to stop that race and go over and talk to the race director and say, hey, you know what? I'm a little scared here. I just had an experience of something and I don't know why I'm experiencing it. I just threw up blood. And she looked at me and she said, Leigh Ann, you need to stop running. You don't need to be out there running. And she's like, every single person out there right now is an addict. You're not an addict. And it hit me. And I went, oh my God, I'm an addict. I'm a food addict. Oh my God, I have an eating disorder. Oh my God, look where I am right now. And because of what I learned about myself through reading, it allowed me to accept the fact that I had a really big demon that I needed to conquer. So I, from March until July, worked a hell of a lot on myself on personal development. I didn't get into leadership books. I didn't get into any type of book that had to do with business. To me, personal development is personal. We all have things that we need to work on, and that was what I needed to work on. I needed to figure out why I had an eating disorder, when it started, why it started, and I needed to get help in recovery. So I kind of was reading a lot. And what was happening is everything that I was reading, I was sharing. And I don't know about you, but when you read more, don't you feel more inspired and more motivated? And that, when you're putting it out into the universe, it inspires and motivates others. And then what do? It's the law of attraction. They come back to you because they feel a connection to you because you're being authentic and you're being yourself. So what happened was I went to go run a 100-miler in July. And I was still in the depths of a really bad eating disorder. And I climbed to the top of Diamond Peak in the TRT 100 and realized that if I did not get help, I was going to be at a point that I was going to die. Literally to the point of that I was going to die. I had been suffering with an eating disorder for over 30 years. And I had 4 kids and I needed to get myself together quick and fast. So I came home, sat down with my coach, told Rhonda what was going on, said that I needed to just work on myself. Now, here's the awesome part about this, okay? Because I was working on myself, my entire team was doing the same. They were home reading books. They were home being inspired. They were home going, oh my goodness, reading's really changing Leigh Ann's life. Maybe this can do this for me. So here's what happens. When I started reading, they started reading. When they started reading, their team members started reading. They started growing. I went from being a diamond coach in January of 2014 to a 5-star diamond by November of 2014. And I strictly say that is because of personal development. Not only did I build myself up, made myself confident, made myself, learn to invest in myself physically, mentally, but I gave that gift to my team. And they grew themselves. And because they grew themselves, their teams naturally, organically grew. So let's talk about personal development a little bit. Personal development is what I call personal. Whatever you're dealing with is what you need to be reading. Okay? When you first start, yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm still on the first slide. Am I doing something wrong?
Oh, no, I'm seeing it. You're not seeing it?
I don't know if I muted everybody, but.
Can you not see it? I see it.
I'm still on the first slide.
Oh, that's so weird. Move this window away from the shared application. I don't know why it's doing it. Darn it.
A big black box at the top.
That's so weird. Hold on. Let me
stop. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm glad because you just missed all the things. Let me try it again.
Well, I heard you clicking. I'm like, I don't know.
I know. I'm like, let me try. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you see? Hold on. So weird.
Sorry.
Oh, no. Can you see that one?
Yep, we saw that one. That was the only one we saw.
Can you see that one?
No.
No, all right. Well, there's the one that I just came off of, kind of.
Oh my gosh. Look at your husband too. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, I am so glad you said that. I have no idea why it froze like that. So weird. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry about that, guys. Totally weird. Now, where'd my mouse go? Hold on. There we go. Okay, so there's that one. That was my coaching journey. That was telling you about my team and my team members and how we all grew. Oh, and I also wanted to add there too, because I was personally growing, my husband was on the side taking his own little personal journey as well. And after he did P90X, he started Beast, and he actually gained back 55 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
And got on stage at Summit last year to participate in the Classic, which is huge for my conservative husband. And he actually was placed in the Beachbody Body Beast infomercial. So you'll see him on TV right now if you're watching TV and ever come across that. But okay, so let me get into personal development. Can you see that one? Okay, so personal development is something personal. It's something that is related to you, that you're going through, that you need to work on. And we all have stuff that we need to work on. So what I'm going to ask you all is to sit down tonight and think to yourself, what are some areas that I need to develop, that I need to become a better coach, a better wife, a better mother, a better whatever you need to work on. You will see on my side over here, these are books that I currently am working on. So there's books in there based on, nutrition, based on eating disorders, based on, a lot of it is faith-based because I'm on a strong faith walk right now. Of course, I always have my leadership stuff in there as well. But here's the thing. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Personal development should be a priority for you every single day, okay? I laugh and I tell my coaches, like, listen, I hate when they say to me, I just don't have time to read. And I say to all of them, you all take a dump every day, right? Like, you can take your phone or your iPad in with you for 5 to 10 minutes. Like, don't tell me you can't do it, because that's a perfect opportunity. So for me, I find different times throughout my days, and I know, Natalie, you're probably the same. With 4 kids, it's pretty hard to find some reading time. So I'll take a bath and listen to an Audible, or I'll put in a podcast and listen to it while I run or exercise. Or I like to take quiet time on the couch when the kids aren't home for a little bit and read and work on myself. So I'm going to give you guys some business and leadership book ideas. So as I go through a couple of these different titles, and I promise I'll go quick through these because I don't want to keep you guys long, write down any of the ones that might interest you. And if you can't see them, I can send the list to Natalie as well. But one of the best gifts, and you guys all know Chris Reed, he was my mentor. And I love that Natalie said last week on my call, where she said she went up and Chris was like, when are you going to be Diamond? And she was like, He did the same exact thing to me, and we have this running joke that whenever he sees me, I'm like, don't ask me, because when he asks me and I say it, then it happens, and it's like crazy. But the best gift he gave to me when I was sitting at a Diamond in January, he says, well, you're a Diamond, like, when do you want to be 2-star? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe in like June, like by Summit. And he's like, okay, how are you going to do that? And I was like, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I don't know how to lead people. I don't know what to do. So he's like, go read leadership books. So that's what I did for like the first 3 months. That first 3 months, I learned how to lead people. So here's some great tips on our great books on business and leadership. Of course, GoPro. I loved, where's it at? I want to see, where's the one? Jim Rohn, Building Your Network Marketing Business. I love anything by Jim Rohn. I love anything by Brian Tracy. And I love anything by John Maxwell. Like, I have an entire, I'm a John Maxwell junkie. So if you're struggling in leadership, these are some great things to sink your brain into. Time management. How many of us as new coaches suck at time management? Like, all of us. I was the same way. So that takes skill. You got to learn how to do that. So here's some great time management. The Slight Edge. That was actually the very first book I read as a new coach, and it changed my life, obviously. The Compound Effect. Eat That Frog. Excellent book if you're looking for a really, really quick read. It's called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. No Excuses by Brian Tracy. And then Go for No by Richard Fenton is actually another really amazing book that's probably you could finish it in a day. Like that's how quick it is, but it's awesome. And of course, The Power of Habit. I think we all need to understand that we need to develop habits in order to be successful in this business. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Daily Action and Time Management, again, of course, there's some extra ones. Anything by Darren Hardy is excellent too, and then Stephen Covey. And Darren Hardy has great podcasts, so definitely download some of those. Mindset, and this one's always really big for me because mindset is what makes or breaks you in this business, okay? You got to have a positive mindset even when life is sucking, you know, because what you project out is what you're going to get back. So if you find yourself in a constant fall or winter season, pick up some books that are going to make your mindset change. So you can put that out into the world. And when you put that out into the world and you're feeling a little better, you're going to start to attract those type of people. So I love Awaken the Giants with Tony Robbins. I love Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. What else? Oh, The Charge by Brendan Burchard. Can I tell you, Brendan Burchard he has an awesome podcast. If you're looking for quick 20, 30-minute podcast of really inspirational, motivational, and real life kind of talk, he's great. I also love Failing Forward. It's a book by John Maxwell. Great book for coaches because here's the thing. You're going to fail. I hate to tell you, but you're going to fail, and you're going to fail 1,000 times. But the more you fail, the more successful you are. I honestly say because I accepted the fact that I was going to fail in this business, that's why I succeeded. Because I got back up, I picked myself up, wiped my knees off, and I tried again. And that just increased my odds for doing well in this business. Those of you that stay down and are stuck down, then it's kind of harder to be more successful. Relationships, I think learning about relationships is really important too. The Go-Giver, best book off this entire list, I think. And then Start With Why as well by Simon Sinek. And don't worry, I will give Natalie this entire list, and she can actually post it on your team page if you have one. And then Love Languages as well by Gary Chapman. I don't know about you, but I think when you're working in this business, you realize that everybody relates in a different way. And it's important that you learn what their love language is and how to coach them. So that's an excellent book as well. And then, of course, social media books, because probably I had to learn how to use social media. I had no clue what the hell I was doing. I was on kindergarten, like leapfrog stuff, and I switched to having to do all this kind of stuff. So Jab, Jab, Right Hook is awesome. Of course, I said Crush It already. And then there's so much Shailene has stuff out there. There's just so much. Lewis Howes, I love him as well. And then Goal Crushers. Push, excellent book for first-time coaches by Shailene Johnson. That was awesome book. And then leadership books, and I will send this one to her. You just can't have enough leadership books. And then that was it for that part. Let me stop my share. Does anybody have any questions? Hey, there's Cody. Anyone?
I have a question.
Yes.
Leigh Ann. So you spoke about sharing your personal development with your team. Mm-hmm. How do you also go there with your customers, and how open are you with that, and how do you encourage that? Because the whole personal development thing, I used to yes that to death, but I also personally have realized how important that is really for everybody. So, and I think that it's important to share that. So how do you do that?
Absolutely. It is definitely a part of my challenge groups every single day. If you follow me, you know that personal development is important to me. So what we're struggling with, because that's ultimately my goal for them. We all know that we show up for the health and fitness part, but really there's other issues that we need to work on. So I find that if I can gear them towards something that they might need to read, then they're going to get better results. And they do. They stick around longer too because they feel vested into the challenge group and into the team. And what happens is most of those people who are successful with programs in personal development land up becoming a coach. Hence why my team is so long, you know. So definitely embed it and share it as in as many ways as you possibly can.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And for my team and stuff, like I'll do giveaways, you know, for like, I'd rather give them a personal development book than a $5 Starbucks card. You know what I mean? Or give them an Amazon card to go buy themselves a books. And once they start seeing that success, then they stay on that wagon, you know?
Right.
Anyone else? Just as quiet as my group.
Thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it. And your story was amazing. I'm happy that I got to see all the slides. I recorded the calling. I don't know how to do anything.
I'll take care of it.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah.
Okay, we figured it out. So we often record them, but then we don't know what to do with them because we don't.
I hear you. It took me a while too.
I don't have, does anybody else have any questions? Thank you so much, everybody, for being on. I really appreciate it. In your time and all of your hints and your tips. Can
I add something really quick? And I know I only have 2 minutes and 20
seconds. Yeah, I know. Sorry, I don't have.
I wanted to share too. I appreciate all of you getting on this call. I don't know if you understand as much. Being connected to your team and getting on a team call is just as important as personal development. Because here's the thing. You're getting on calls together. You're learning. You're sharing. That's personal development. Okay? So keep that in mind as you're building your teams, the importance of being on team calls. Because that's really how you learn and how you grow together. And that creates a really awesome culture if you can keep that going. So I appreciate all of you taking your time out of your busy schedules to show up as well.
You have anything?
No. Thank you so much, Leigh Ann.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Do I now have to stop?
I'll stop recording.